Alright, so here is a initial run through of my demo. This effect was one I did earlier in another video, but it's a sprite effect brought in through Houdini using their fluid effect vertex animation nodes, and you can get a pretty easy effect with that just off the base, and then you can in Unreal I just did an emissive with a sine over time, and it switches out these colors. This is a flag brought in through Unreal's cloth and soft vertex animation node, and it allows you to just make a pretty easy quick flag simulation. These type of things aren't affected by wind or anything, but they also run substantially lower, right? Like they don't need as much energy on your computer. This is a rock that just kind of blows up. It's not perfect still, but it works for what it is. As you can see, this whole terrain, it's not perfectly shaded right now. I can I'll show you a tool in a second. This is an egg that I did earlier, but the models internally are just actually built off this egg mesh. So the egg that explodes, I just did an explosion, baked out that as a rigid body explosion, and then the internals are that same mesh, just scaled down. One is actually a sphere, the very internal one. And then I applied a mountain, and then in one of the parts of the mountain I did a sine over frame, and you can get this kind of dispersion effect. And then I did the same thing with the egg's shell, and then you get that white one from that. And then in Unreal you just have to mess with the shaders yet again. You kind of get these nicer effects. So, these are two different water simulations brought in through Houdini as well. They're very simple right now because I just wanted to detail what you can do with them, but I literally just dropped in a sphere into the water tank, did a suction effect, and then did some shader effects on the base shader that you bring in through Houdini, and you kind of get with my alterations, you kind of get these two effects. You know, you get this one where you can see through it and really get some detail out of it, along with the environment. And then you can also use this one, right? Yeah, can't see through it, but it looks good on the base. So that if you really kind of take the thoughts from these type of things, you can start to understand how you can make one of like a whole entire ocean sim, really, because it's just layering, truly. So this is the goal eventually. This is a fire sim that I brought in through Houdini. It uses heat maps, so you bake the heat maps in Houdini, and you bake the FBX and the fluid of the smoke itself, and then based on the heat map it displays the texture. So this is using a basic color map that was also made in Houdini. This is following Luis Carell's videos. Very helpful man. And then I just applied emissivity and just kind of you get like these rolling blue orange colors. And this right here is a fluid effect. I'm using flow maps within Unreal. The flow maps are made in Houdini, and the mesh itself is actually made in Houdini, and I'll detail that tool in a second because that's part of this demo. The flow maps right now aren't perfect. I still need to figure out a way to make these procedurally as well, but I just literally threw on a flow map and a shader, and that uses that flow map. You can look around at these textures. They're interesting. Yet again, they're not perfect, but they're just really here for what I need them to be here for. Alright, so now let's go into the meat of what you can do in this scene. If I can get these buttons to work. There we go. So as you can see here, I've made quite a few layers within this scene, so I can drag out this little tool here. Smaller. I don't really want to there's hard limits to layers, so you have to be careful. But you can just paint in these textures really easy, and it's a tool that you can mask out layers, right? You can mask out layers when you export them from Houdini, but you still, as you can even see in this height map, there's still usually some issues. There's things you want to correct. There's things you want to give tools to designers to correct, and that same ability, I believe in layering and just giving tools to designers to paint these textures is better, because largely the data's cleaner and looks better in game. You run into less issues in the long run. It takes a little longer, but if you can make an easy tool for the designer, why not? I'll just show you some other ones. I'll have to spread it around a little bit, but gotta get the point across them. Let's see if this broke. Looks like one of them broke. And that's what I mean when I say you have to be careful, because I believe that Unreal is running into an issue with layering right now, where you can't have more than 3 texture layers on one block, which my thought process behind that is basically just old school rendering issues within like 8-bit games, right? I don't know how true that is, but I don't really work with anyone that knows that level of detail of why these issues happen. So, okay, let's go into how I made this water. So this water is actually made with a Houdini digital asset. It's just kind of like my first run at it, using other things that I've been working with. So you can literally, if you look here, you can, I'll just copy it out, it'll be easier the other way. Move it over, there. Okay. And then I can do something like this and lift it up. And then go back into this. Like that. It's kind of crappy setup right now, but I mean you have to play with the curves a little bit, basically, to get any type of good effect out of it. I'll need to learn, mess with them more to make them better. But it's the first show at it. All right, this. I'm gonna go and find the shader. That's in here. And really just go under. Like that. Level the scene. And voila. You can have an effect right here. Right. And really that's the goal. Just make it as easy as possible for these designers, so they don't have to mess with the stuff so much. And this ocean right here is actually not mine, it's built. It's a Unreal community project using Gerstner waves. I've been trying to learn these more, basically, but it's also a great effect. So, thank you so much for your interest.